All right, we want to take a closer look now back at this story we led with about the plane crash in Ethiopia. Joining us from Washington, our aviation correspondent, David Curley. Hello, David.
Byron, how are you?
Good. So a number of countries have now pulled these planes out of rotation. Is there building pressure on the United States yet to do the same?
Oh, I think the pressure will come from the public and possibly leaders in the country. In essence, the FAA issued a notification late yesterday saying they are monitoring the situation, but there's no evidence currently to order the grounding of the fleet in the United States, 72 of these MAXs. That gives the airlines that operate them cover to continue operating the planes here. But if the flying public says, hey, I don't want to fly that plane, put me on another 737, another aircraft, there could be, one of these airlines could decide to go ahead and ground it on their own temporarily as we wait for the black boxes to be read out on this crash. And if one goes, there's a good chance that the others would follow. That would be a voluntary basis, but they're under no order to do so. Mm-hmm. It is public perception at this point. You look at who has actually grounded it. It started with China with 96, the vast majority of those that are out there around the world. China's in the middle of a trade war with the United States. I'm not suggesting this was politics, but some people say you shouldn't rule it out either. Indonesia and Ethiopia have grounded theirs. They've each had an accident. Malaysia's had a missing aircraft with the Boeing 777. But there is growing concern. The British have done so as well now. The Singaporeans and the Australians say you can't fly them into our airspace. So there is growing concern about this aircraft because there are similarities between the two crashes. We don't know if they actually were caused by the same thing, but both pilots had trouble early in their flight controlling the aircraft with pitch, what's called the nose going up and down like this. So those are similarities. We don't know if they're caused by the same thing. All this unknown, the fact that it's still a mystery is what is causing concern among the flying public, and that's what the airlines may have to address as this continues to roll down the story.
David, as you saw, President Trump commented about this, suggesting that as with the technology changes in aviation, I guess in particular with this aircraft, he suggested that pilot error may somehow be responsible for this crash. What's the aviation community, how are they reacting to those comments?
Let's look at the facts. Aviation has become one of the safest modes of travel, and one of the reasons is automation that's been added to the cockpits. One of the reasons we're adding automation to cars when we're talking about automation of vehicles, that is to take humans out of it, because the human factor is often the problem with a lot of accidents and crashes. Now, you can talk about complexity, which is what the president may have been trying to talk about. Is it too complex to operate the automation? And there are studies about this, and this is an area of concern. But there is no doubt that automation in aircraft has saved lives and making this a very safe way to travel.
David Curley, thank you so much. I know you'll keep us updated on this story.
You
Thank
bet,
you.
Byron.